Let's talk some sports, baby.
And remember, make tomorrow better than today and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we gonna do. We gonna holler at you until next time, baby.
All right, fellas, it is time to cap it off with some college football. This weekend before the conference finals, lots of stuff going on still. Many of your playoff hopeful teams are off, unfortunately, but we will have Florida and Alabama in action. The rest of the lineup just have a few of the top 25 matchups. You got North Carolina and Miami. And a bit of other news as a follow-up from Tuesday. Ohio State will be allowed to face Northwestern for the Big Ten title. The conference did go ahead and change that game requirement. So, Drink, what do you think of the Big Ten's decision, and what's on your radar for this weekend's action?
Listen, it was a decision that had to change. First of all, I don't understand why the Big Ten made that decision. Like, it's COVID. You have to be as flexible as you can possibly be in a year like this. Why would you even make that declaration? Hey, you got to play 6 games. Why? You don't even know if you're going to be able to play 3 games, let alone 6. And then you make this, and then guess what you had to do? Go back and overturn that ruling, just like you had to overturn the ruling of not playing. The Big Ten needs to sit down and take a class on flexibility and patience, because clearly they don't got that. They're like, I don't know what's going on with that conference, but they have to go and undo all these decisions because they jump and rush and make a decision. Just smoke a cigarette, have a seat. Look at the SEC. Look at the AC. Look at all these other conferences. Take a breath. Yes, parents are going to come at you. Health officials are going to come at you. A lot of people are going to come at you. Take a breath. It's all right. You don't have to jump and make a irrational decision and then go and change it. So as far as them changing that, it's about damn time. Hopefully they don't have to go undo any more rulings that they have because they rushed into it. So that's my thought on that. I'm glad they did that. We're going to get to see Ohio State and Northwestern in the Big Ten championship. You know, we'll see how that goes. A little correction. You said Alabama was playing Florida this weekend. That's next weekend.
No, I said Alabama and Florida are playing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
I may have said it. Probably did.
I probably heard you wrong. But you're all right. They are playing, so no harm, no foul. So one game that sticks out to me the most is we got number 9 Georgia versus number 25 newly cemented number 25 Missouri. Top 25 matchup. That's quite interesting. If you would have asked me about this game probably 3-4 weeks ago, I'm like, why are we talking about this? Missouri been playing some good ball. I think they're on a 4-game winning streak as of now. They have picked up their act from the beginning of the season. And then we know about Georgia. We don't know what to make of JT Daniels. We don't know if he's for real. We just seen Georgia beat up on some not so complete teams, let's say. And you know, JT Daniels, he should have been there from the start. Wait, hold a minute. Hold the phone. Because don't think JT Daniels would have been the savior versus a fully healthy Alabama or Florida, a fully healthy Florida team, or whatever the case might be. Let's not forget, he beat up on a beat-up Kentucky team that had barely enough players to make it, a beat-up Mississippi State team that probably had a third-string quarterback punting the ball, and then he beat up on I think it was Arkansas or something like that wasn't fully complete. So they haven't played I think, in my opinion, a fully prepared team ready to play. I think Missouri will get them all they can handle. I'm going to take Georgia in that game. So that was one game I looked at. Of course, we got old Arkansas, better known as Bacon Bits. Yeah, I like that in my salad. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that, try to eat healthy this weekend. And then we got number 17, North Carolina, going over to number 10, Miami. I like to call this the ACC Overrated Bowl. Let's see which one of these teams is really, let's see which one of these teams really is going to be about their life, as they say.
Let me ask you real quick on that games, real quick. Do you think if Miami and Clemson played today, that game would be any different?
No.
You think they've gotten any better?
No.
Okay.
I don't, not enough to play Clemson. They might got a little better to play.
Well, like if they wouldn't get drug is what I'm at. Would they get drug again, or you think they would be a closer game?
I think they compete with them.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I wouldn't.
No. They're getting drugged. The team. If they're playing with DJ, however you say his name at quarterback, maybe it's closer. If they play with Trevor Lawrence, no, we're getting the same result. I'm sorry, Miami, they're cool. They're the U. They don't have the players and the talent to me to stay up with Clemson. Now, you're talking about other teams in the ACC. Yes. If you want to tell me that Miami is the second or third or fourth, third, fourth, fifth, you know what I'm saying, team in the ACC, yeah, I ain't mad at that. But they don't want no smoke with Clemson for real. And, I don't think they want smoke with Notre Dame. And I'm not the biggest Notre Dame fan. I just think those teams are better coached, better players, and they're just at a different plateau than Miami. That's just my opinion on that. This is why I call this the overrated bowl. I think Miami got credit for playing Clemson so early in the season. And now they've been able to tread water, and they look pretty decent. But if you notice, Miami hasn't moved from that 10th spot since, the first ranking. They've been hovering at 10, the whole time. That tells me not the committee saying, we'll keep you in the top 10, but at 10 until you show us something. So not even the committee is fully sold in. Can they make a difference with number 17 North Carolina? Who knows? They're hit or miss. It's still a top 17 matchup. I ain't mad at it. I hope it lives up to the billing of how ABC trying to sell it to the fans. But we'll see. But I think both of these teams are what I like to call pretty overrated. So, and then this is why ABC just got the SEC deal. Because when the rubber hits the road, they got to broadcast UCLA versus USC as the 7:30 ABC game.
Jesus. Yeah, I just saw that right before you said it. I was like, what's he talking about? Oh, God.
Is Chip Kelly still down there?
And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm like.
I don't remember.
Chip's still there? Let me hit up the research department. That's the same thing I'm saying. Is Chip still there? I think USC gonna boat race UCLA, by the way. I think USC is I think they're a decent team. Do I think they can stack up with the powerhouses in the SEC or the Big Ten? Probably not. They might lose to Cincinnati. But I think because they're USC, they're undefeated, they're playing pretty decent football, it's a reason why they're going to be on primetime TV, because we know the overall goal of the college football landscape is to have at least one good team from each region of the United States to show parity, which don't really matter for much once the final playoff rankings come, because it's all down south for that fact of the matter. But, there's neither here nor there. But, yeah, you got that game. I think that'll be interesting. I am interested to see if number 18, Cody Boys, I should say, BYU bounce back against San Diego State there. Let's see how many points they put up. What do you think, about 45?
I hope so.
They mad? This the revenge game?
Better make me look good.
You lost to the Chandeliers. Now you want to take it out on the Aztecs, huh? That's what's going to go on here? Huh? Yeah. All right, so I guess that's what we're going to see out of that. Then we got Florida. Listen, Cody, you made it clear Florida is in action against LSU. That game is only interesting because people are about to bring out the measuring stick. Be like, hey, Florida, this is what Alabama did. We're going to need you to do the same thing. We're going to think a little less of you. So that game is interesting just to see what exactly do Florida do to try to outclass Alabama, because, now it's all about measuring sticks at this point. So in a nutshell, man, few games, not many. But like I said, the game for me, probably Georgia and Missouri, to be honest. And like I said, I look at Alabama and bacon bits. I look at Florida and the woeful Tigers. And, I'm going to look at this North Carolina and Miami game, and that's probably pretty much it for your boy on college football this weekend until they bring back next weekend with some actual good old live action. Holla at your boy.
Yeah, I hate to rain on this cool parade of games, but it's not all that impressive. I think seemed like Drink went over quite a few games, and like most of them he went over. I'm just like, nah, I'm not really that interested. You're gonna have to sell me a little bit harder. I think the mere fact that he brought up Georgia and Missouri just speaks to the overwhelming,
Yeah.
it's just the fact that you have to bring up that, and ESPN ain't even sold on the game because they got it on the SEC network. So they're not even sold on it. So, and then, I think North Carolina and Miami is probably the most interesting game of the weekend, that kind of the kind of second tier type teams in the ACC, the whole thing, is the U back? We have to really stomach more of the turnover chain parade, or, will the Mac Browns come in there and, do the thing with Sam Howells and such. But really, when you really want to know how bad this slate is, you need look no further. Drink already brought up one. He brought up the ABC game, which I don't even know if I'm Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. I don't even know if I show up for that one. I think that can you flex? They flex games in the NFL. Can we flex commentators? Can we get something else? Maybe they can go up call Georgia, Missouri, since that's going to be such a barn burner.
No, they need to. No, if I'm them, I'm like, yo, I want to go to the North Carolina and Miami game. This is bullcrap.
That's right. That's probably the one. But also the Pac-12 gets the ABC game on at 7:30, which is it's a pretty prestigious spot. And where Fox make their money? They own that big noon energy. And guess what they doing? They're doing Utah and Colorado. Oh my Lord, I can't. And I say and then you keep going. You can Illinois, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Iowa. It's just so many games. I'm like, that's why I'm going bowling tomorrow. I'm not really going to waste a whole lot of time on some of this. I will be back in time for my boys, see if we can go on a terrific 2-game winning streak in the battle for the Commonwealth Cup. Yeah, that's Virginia Tech. We'll see if or maybe we'll start, I don't know, another 17-year losing streak to them. Hopefully not. But I think the biggest news is obviously, I think, the Ohio State development in the Big Ten. Obviously, I think it's kind of predictable. The Big Ten, they want to take this, they want to take this hard line, like you got to play this many games to make the Big Ten title. And as soon as they feel like their conference is in some trouble, how they actually need this game now because, the committee, they're not going to look kindly on them if they play like 5 games and they don't have the Big Ten crown sitting on their heads. So, that's obviously interesting. I would kind of want to know if it was another team, let's just say Indiana had beat Ohio State, and then Indiana was in danger of like not having enough games to qualify. Would Indiana get the same treatment, and would they or is it just an Ohio State thing? I don't know the answer. I just posed the question.
Yeah.
I would like to know if it was another team, would they get the same treatment? We're obviously not going to know that, but I think it's one of them fun hypotheticals. But since this schedule is so underwhelming, I got time for the nonsense today. I'm gonna take you back to Thursday night. Something I just saw before we got to this segment. And by the way, live update: Arizona State is now just it's 42-0 with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Arizona State is whipping Arizona. I don't know what Kevin Sumlin's doing down there. He probably left.
Sure ain't no coaching.
What is it? Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh beat Georgia Tech 34-20 last night. That's not all that much newsworthy. But the little post-game handshake between the coaches, Pat Narduzzi and Jeff Collins, I watched the video on it. It's something that, teams do and coaches do. You finish the game, you shake hands, and you move on. They coaches, they reach out, stretch it. Jeff Collins, touches Narduzzi's hand and then just rips it away. Not even a full handshake. I don't know what that is. I think it's embarrassing. I think it just speaks to, and I'm always down to take a dump on Georgia Tech because they ran that Bush League high school triple option garbage under Paul Johnson for years and years. So they were never going to be truly relevant on the national stage, and now they just stink. I don't know what this dude Jeff Collins. He can't even do anything right. And he can't even go out there and shake somebody's hand. And
look, man, he had somewhere to be. He was running late.
They got running late to what? Okay. Well, and then so the quotes, I find the quotes hilarious too, because Narduzzi is trying to, win with some grace and, be humble and all that. It's like, hey, you got a good team over there, and he says Jeff Collins said baloney. On one hand, I can't be mad at Jeff Collins because he's actually factually correct. And he said, you know what? Actually, no, my team stinks. You're right. They actually do. But then his follow-on quote, which I didn't even tell y'all about earlier, makes even less sense. He said, I was just focused on getting our guys over to the band to celebrate. Celebrate what? Who the hell go over there and celebrate a loss? I don't know what that is. So but just that is how underwhelming this slate is. The mere fact I got time to talk about Pittsburgh and Georgia Tech and a handshake that they came to do. And it just goes back to, the ACC should redo that little Unity commercial that they do with all the coaches, and they got these little, because they so woke and everything. And they should yank Jeff Collins out of that commercial since he came and do something as simple as this, right? Setting a great example for the athletes, Jeff. Good job, man.
Look, hold on. First, I want to say this. In defense of old Collins, whatnot, he was practicing social distancing. He didn't want to shake his hand because he know you don't supposed to be doing it. It's the elbow bump, the fist bump, something like that. All right. So I don't know what the real problem is. But hey, I'm gonna tell you this. That guy's just frustrated. You ain't never been frustrated before? And like somebody come up to you and say, hey man, how you doing? Yo, you just leave him alone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think he was frustrated. But I do agree. That's Bush League. You can't be a head coach of a Division I team pulling that bull crap. You need to take that to Division III or JUCO or something. But that don't happen in Division I.
If you're just upset about it, then you just go on straight to the locker room, go kick a trash can, and punch the drywall. I mean, if you're going to go out and stick your hand out to another man, and as soon as he touches your hand, you're going to turn around and walk off. That is like the utmost. He's lucky Arduzzi didn't try to grab one of the cops' guns or something. Like, that is just sexually just disrespect. I don't know who raised him. That's not what you do. If you're trying to be a little Howie Mandel, years ahead of his time, like, hey man, it's all good. We'll stay. From Air 5, like, all right. Like, you're gonna stick your hand out and then do that. Like, you got beef with him, man. I mean, you ain't just mad. I don't know. That is great though. Yeah, a couple quick notes. The Ohio State thing. I think what's interesting about that is, I think they have the Big Ten has a plausible deniability here because it's clear that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten, right? If Indiana would have beat Ohio State and they had but they still had a loss, let's say, like, it would have been, maybe a little bit more suspect, but I guess that they won in all their games and maybe they would have gotten the same treatment. I don't think Indiana would be ranked as high as Ohio State is right now. They'd be like 8th. So maybe you'd have a bit more of an argument, but the Big Ten clearly had an out to just say, well, they're clearly the best team in the conference. They should play for the title. And a lot of people are going, yeah, all right. Like, yeah, are they? But, like, they are. So they get away with it. It's close. I think one thing to watch for this weekend, though, if you're Ohio State, is Northwestern. If they were to lose this weekend, they're playing Illinois. They're probably going to win. Illinois is not very good, but if they were to lose, that could kind of maybe jeopardize, because that's going to make your win look a little bit worse. Because I think a lot of people think that Ohio State is just a lock into the playoff now. Like, oh, they're getting the Big Ten, they're going to win. If Northwestern loses that game, they're not going to look as good in that win. And also, like we talked about a little bit in the previous weeks of the scenarios. If Florida does somehow upset Alabama, and Notre Dame and Clemson is like some field goal, barn burning 50-53 sort of blowout, fiesta, that's going to be hard for Ohio State to get into the top 4. I mean, you might see them get slid out anyway. So
if that happened, I wouldn't take Ohio State. I would take those 4 teams.
Right. So they're on better footing than I would say your A&Ms and your Cincinnatis and whatnot are. But it's not by no means a lock that they're going to the playoff right now. I think that there are paths where they could still be in trouble. And the last thing I'm looking at this weekend, I would say the Heisman race is going to get a little interesting. You got Kyle Trask and Mac Jones, I think, are your clear 2 front runners. I don't know. Is anyone else is that close? Like, I feel like it's pretty much just those 2 guys, right? Like, I mean, I don't.
Yeah, because you had the guy from BYU. Clearly, he didn't drop because of his loss. Yeah, I think you're right. I think those 2 guys are the
other guys you would think of, like Trevor Lawrence. He missed a lot of time with the COVID. Justin Fields has been hampered by the Big Ten. They're lateness to the overall party. So I mean, yeah, it's a wacky year to where guys you would think would be like in the conversation. They just don't have the numbers to be taken as seriously as you'd like.
Hold up. Speaking of numbers, they need to put my boy Devontae Smith in there. He needs some Heisman love out here.
That's true. Like, it'd be like supplementary like pieces on Alabama or maybe, I don't know, probably not Florida, but like Yeah, Devontae Smith, like this dude, like every time you look at the stat sheet, there's some outrageous thing that he's doing.
Right. I was thinking of the Devontae Smith. I mean, you could make an argument for Kyle Pitts, if you really wanted to. The PFF actually had a really cool stat that 92% of his catches this season have resulted in a first down or a touchdown. That's wild. I mean, that's just insane. But anyway, real quick on the Heisman race, I would say that what's interesting is, Mac Jones, 3,100 yards. He's at 27 touchdowns, 3 picks. Kyle Trask, 3,200 yards, 38 touchdowns, 3 picks. They're both playing bad defenses this weekend. Arkansas is terrible. LSU's terrible. Does either coach try to pull back the reins? Like, let's say both teams are up big early, both of them are blowouts. Does Dan Mullen like just leave his foot on the gas? Does he say, hey Trask, go out there and throw it, let's go win you the Heisman this weekend, or does Nick Saban try to say, hey Mac, you're gonna go out there and go yard, with both teams knowing they don't need style points and they're both going to the SEC championship next weekend? How's that race going to look? And then, we'll have time to talk about the race itself next week. But, how much more ground can either candidate make for the Heisman, at the end of the race here? It's going to come down to these two guys,
I think just the point you made, Mac Jones got to share this with Najee Harris and Devontae Smith, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. And then you got Kyle Trask that probably had to share the spotlight with Kyle Pitts. The difference is this. Nick has shown this throughout the years. He has no problem running the ball after he's up by so many points because he don't benefit from, embarrassing the other guys. I think with that said, I think Dan Mullins throws the ball more than Nick does. So I would foresee Kyle Trask's stats being a little bit better. It's the nature of the beast. But Florida don't have a run game like Alabama. So Najee's going to get carries. And then also, to answer your question, I see it more out of Florida than I see out of Alabama just because how Nick runs stuff. And I think Florida has to throw the ball a little more than Alabama because their run game is not as impressive. So I do see Kyle Trask having the better stats out of the two once the weekend is over, but we'll see.
I think Trask has the advantage right now, but I think from a coaching perspective, like I don't think the Heisman race and padding stats, I don't think that's consideration, or it shouldn't be for either side. If you're in there talking about Heismans and padding stats, you're not focused on the real objective, in my estimation.
It's the championship. That's true.